Today, like I said, we're going to be covering personalizing and sending out your survey. So we're going to cover three things: personalization, customization, and distribution options within QuestionPro. We're going to, of course, cover some best practices. Then we're going to talk about custom variables, which is how you personalize your entire experience for your respondent. And then we're going to talk about the email distribution and look at some of the other distribution options that are available with QuestionPro. So, our best practices. When we talk about personalization and customization, first let me be clear on what we're talking about between those two. Personalization is making the experience personalized for each individual who is receiving your survey. That is where the custom variables come into play. Customization is where you make the survey look and feel like they're having an experience with your organization. So we're going to look at customization options. We're going to cover how to do a simple theme update, as well as looking at how you can do customization with full RSS, or CSS, sorry, not RSS, CSS, which is cascading style sheets. So I'll show you both of those for customization. So the benefits of both of those is we have found that there are increased response rates when you make it a personalized experience for your respondent. And that can be something as simple as including their first name when you are sending the survey invitation, if you're using the email system to send out the invitation. And the customization, like I said, it could be as simple as just updating the theme colors to match your organization's colors. But we have seen increased response rates from doing that. That's the biggest benefit of personalization. The second benefit of personalization is that you can pipe the information already into the response viewer for reporting, which next week we're going to cover some of the reporting. But by doing that, it actually saves you time from needing to ask them information and collect all that. It's already there. It's piped right into the report. So in your database, you already have that information available. So you're taking advantage of information you already have, presenting it to your respondent, and having that available in the report. The next research best practice, so you've done the personalization, you've done the customization, you're ready to put together that email invitation. There are some tips for writing this invitation that also increase response rates. First, stating the purpose of your survey. Tell them why they are taking the survey. Tell them how long it may take. I actually read something last week that said that there is research that supports the fact that when you tell respondents how long your survey will take, it can actually increase the response rate, especially if you're doing something like a 10 to 15 minute survey. It will increase the response rates because they know what they're getting into and they know how much time you're asking of them. Also state if you're going to be asking for personally identifiable information. This is anything that can trace back to the individual respondent. Name, address, if you're doing these internal to your organization, employee number, that kind of thing. That is all personally identifiable information. Let them know up front if you're going to be asking for that so that they don't end up going down the path, taking the survey, suddenly find themselves faced with that question and drop out. I'll also let them know if it's going to be optional for them to include that information so that they can decide if they want to include that or not. Also state if there are rewards and how to qualify for the rewards. So all of these things, it gives the respondent upfront information, lets them know what they are getting into, how long it's going to take, what is going to be asked of them, and it gives them the tools for being able to decide whether they want to start the survey or not, and it can also increase response rates. Now, when it comes to which invitation method to use, again, there is a lot of data to support this. Used a couple different methods. Use one and then follow up with the other. Email and phone have traditionally had the best response rates. You send an email, follow up by phone. It's also very time intensive and can be very costly. Mobile is catching up as having as good response rates as typically had between email and phone. Another thing that you can do is you can actually use email and then follow up with a second email. So following up has actually also proven to increase response rates. When I have done it on surveys, typically I get the biggest response within the first 3 days of sending the invitation. And then if I send a reminder after a week, I get another bump in responses during the first 2 days after sending that reminder. And I'll show you how you can set up the reminder so it automatically goes out after you've sent out a first email invitation. Also take a look at what your audience is used to. If your audience is used to you communicating with them via email, definitely stick with the email. But if your audience is familiar with communicating with you via your social media channels, distribute your survey via the social media channels, and maybe you distribute via social media and follow up with email. But we have ways with QuestionPro to be able to use different ways to connect with your audience based on how your audience connects with you. And last but not least, definitely just try one method and follow up with a second. Everything has shown that it still helps no matter what you're doing to try one method, follow up with a second method, or even just to try one method and just do a follow-up period. It still helps with those response rates. So those are our research best practices for today. Before I dive in, I want to remind everyone that is on this training today, please feel free to use the Q&A module available in GoToWebinar to submit your questions. I know I'm going a little bit quickly. We will be providing the recording afterwards, just like we did last week, sending out the links to the recording. So you will have that available hopefully by the end of this week. So again, use the Q&A module as well as remember that you're going to get the copy of the recording afterwards. So let's dive into QuestionPro and take a look at what we can do for personalizing and customizing your surveys and looking at our send options. So first, let's start with a customer satisfaction survey. I have these already done, but I'll show you the steps to be able to go through the personalization. So we're going to start with what I call the impersonal purchase customer satisfaction survey. So this is something that might look like a traditional satisfaction survey where the setup is that we had someone who purchased a cell phone. We're going to ask them to select which phone they purchased, whether they use their phone still at least once a day, what features do they like, etc. And then we're going to ask them how much did you pay for your phone and whatnot. Now, we can do some personalization here right off the bat if we already have some information about our customer and what they purchased and how much they purchased it for. So let's take a look at the way that we personalize that. The first thing you're going to want to do is put together a spreadsheet or some kind of either CSV file, which is comma separated values, which could be an export from a database, or an Excel file that you have. So, excuse me. Let me bring up an Excel file that I had put together for this purpose. And I'll show you what that can look like and how you should set it up so that it works with your surveys. Okay, so here is how you would set up an Excel file for having custom variables. First column should always be the email address. This is the column that will be used when you're sending it from within QuestionPro. And so it needs to be the first information. So we have our email address, and then we're going to put in our first name, last name. We have our purchase date, what kind of phone they purchased, what price they purchased it at, and then we're going to repeat the email address because we actually want to be able to call that in to our survey so that they can either update their email address, we get information so that we can follow up with them. So remember, their first column always needs to be email address, and then you can follow with the custom variables after that. So that's how we're setting up our our spreadsheet of information. Now we're going to go back into QuestionPro. We're going to go to our personalized version, and we're actually going to go send, and we're going to manage email lists, which you'll see by send email invitation. I can also click on the send email invitation and have access to all of this, but we'll go straight to manage email lists. We'll create a new email list. We're going to enter the list name. So we'll say purchase history for May. And now I can decide if I want to make this either survey specific or a global list. And I do want to maybe follow up with these same individuals later, so I'm going to make it a global list so that I can create a different survey to follow up with them. So I'll make this global. And now we're going to select, you'll see that we had two methods to upload information. I can either copy or paste the email addresses, in which case I'm going to select the format, and I will just put that information in email address, comma, and then each one of my custom variables. But since I already have an Excel file, I'm actually going to select the upload file with email addresses using CSV or Excel. Now I'm going to select my file format. For the count that I have, I'm going to select email address and then field 1, field 2, and up to 255 custom variables. If I select the second one in the list, which has email address, first name, last name, then I can only use the first name and last name variables in my invitation, in my email invitation. If I want to use them in the context of my survey, in the questions, then I actually need to select field 1, field 2. That's the difference between these. So remember, if you want to use the information in the questions, select email address and then the 255 variables. Otherwise, if you just want to use them in your email invitation, select email address and then first name, last name, and then the 255 variables. So we'll select here. We'll select our file. And then we're going to say to skip the first line. That way it doesn't think that I need to use that first line information, that is information that is valid. So now we'll select upload file. Oop. Looks like my Excel file used to have more information. So I've uploaded 4 fields. It said there were 66 processed. So I did have extra information in here. I had deleted it, but it seems it didn't save correctly. But this is the information that I need. I need those 4 email addresses, those 4 rows. So now if I go manage email lists to refresh my list, I have my list here and it has 4 rows that have all the information. So now we've uploaded this list and we needed to upload it so that we had the custom variables to be able to pull into the survey. So now I'm going to go back into my survey and we'll add some of those custom variables. All right, so if I want to call in a custom variable, the thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to include here $, open curly bracket, and then the number of the custom variable. Now, I only had, we'll go back to this Excel file, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 variables that were in my file, but you'll see I'm calling in a custom 7, and I'll show you why. You'll see that I have this question here. For the purpose of this survey, please enter the name you like to go by. And here I'm actually going to use some piping logic so that I can continue to personalize this survey experience. I'm going to click Logic. And you'll see that I'm going to branch from this question to the next question, which says, thanks, custom 7. I've assigned piping text. So this open-ended text field is going to be assigned to custom variable 7 since the first 6 are already taken. And I'm leaving this field empty. If I want to pipe specific text, then I would type in what text that would be here. But since I want to only pipe in the text from what the person entered, then I'm going to assign it a custom variable and let that particular text pipe through. Assigning it a custom variable also lets me use that same information that my respondent entered, lets me use that later in my survey. And you'll see where I've called out the same custom variable later in the survey. Otherwise, it would just pipe the text to the next question. So again, we're personalizing this experience. We're using custom variables, and we're using the information the customer entered as a custom variable. So we're saving that logic. And then we call it out on the next question with our $, curly bracket, and then the name of the custom variable. So any one of these custom variables, the name will be custom and then the number that it would occur. I can go up here and we'll show you how you can map the custom variables so that they make more sense to you and are easier to remember. So I went up to the top, I clicked the More button, and I went to Custom Variable Mapping. And now I can select a custom variable and we can give it a display name, which is how it will appear in my reports. And then I can assign it a code. So the code currently for this is custom1. I can assign this FN for first name or first, last, etc. So I can put that in here, and then once I'm done mapping all of the custom variables I want to map, then instead of calling out $, curly bracket, custom, and the number, I can actually do $, curly bracket, and put in the code that I had mapped earlier. So making it easier for you to be able to call in those custom variables. So here I have custom 4, custom 3. This is telling them, hey, we know that you purchased a specific type of phone and when you purchased it, and do you still use this phone at least once a day? So already you can see we've condensed the information because we already know it from our customers, and we're just doing a follow-up customer satisfaction. Oops. So I save that, and you'll see I'm able to use again that custom 7. So the nickname or whatever name they wanted to go by, we've piped that into the survey by calling it out later in the survey. All right, so we've done some personalization, and now we've personalized the survey. Now let's personalize the email invitation. We're going to go back to the Send, and now we'll click Manage or Send Email Invitation. And here in my email invitation, I can send it, I'll select the list I want to send it to. So we have Purchase History May, and I'll give it a subject line. And here in the body of the email, I can select some more information. So first, we can use these custom variables. Again, please remember, first name and last name, these are the two that you would use if you use that email address, comma, first name, comma, last name, comma, custom 1, etc. Right now, my first name is under custom 1. So we'll do hello, custom 1, and it automatically puts the information for me into the invitation. If I had changed these in the mapping, I would see that display name would appear here instead of custom 1. So now we have some information. I'm not going to go in and change this just for time's sake, but I will talk about this survey link at the bottom. The default link for any survey for the invitation is a tracked link. So that does not mean that that you have personally identifiable information tracking back. It just means it tracks who has taken the survey so that you can do a follow-up reminder only to those people who have not yet completed the survey. If I want to use an anonymous link, then I could click, you'll see I clicked Insert Survey Links. I'll click Anonymous Respondents so you can see the difference between the two links. So I have anonymous survey link versus survey link. So the anonymous survey link, the only downside is if I want to send a reminder, I'm not going to be able to do that from within QuestionPro. The reminders only work if you use the tracked respondents link. So because I want to send a reminder, I am going to include that tracked respondents link. And I can change the link text here. So we'll just say take our survey and and enter to win because we are offering a reward. And now you'll see on the side, I have what email address I want this to come from, as well as whose name I want it to be coming from. So now we'll click Send Email. And it's sending to my list. At any time, I can go back to Manage Invitations. And I can create a new survey invitation, not send immediately after I have put it together. But I can create up to 10 templates here. So you'll see I have a number of different templates that I have created. I can create a new survey invitation, put all the template together. You'll see the difference is that I don't have that who I should send it to here. Once I've created the survey invitation and I'm ready to use it, I would click the Send button on the side, and then I would select the list and send it that way. So you'll see I can manage my email lists, I can manage my invitations, and then I can see what has sent and when it was sent. All right, so that is personalization in the invitation as well as in the survey itself. Let's talk a little bit about customization, and then we'll go back and look at some of the other send options. Now, there are two levels of customization, so to speak. I can go up here to customize theme at the top of my survey. Well, first I'll go title and logo. So I click title and logo. I can upload my organization's logo here, and then I can select that and include a title, and that will appear on every page of my survey. So that's an easy way for me to do a little bit of customization. I can also go to customize theme, and I can select from any of the standard themes. So we have a number of preloaded themes already. Or I can go to a custom theme, and I can include the number. So if I already have from my graphics department the number, the hex code for the colors that our organization uses, I can just click in here, I can delete that, and then I can include the hex code right in there. It will automatically update. So I can update the background, I can include the number for the title bars as well as for the buttons. So pretty easy, and then I can also change the font. We only have 3 options right now, Arial, Verdana, and Times New Roman. And I can change the font size, the default font size for my survey. Now the next level, if I have CSS experience, I can go to full CSS control. This will load, but you'll see that we have the style sheet here. You can load a theme as your starting point, and you can actually copy this, send this to your graphics department, let them work on it, send it back to you, upload it here, save it, and it will update your survey. Now, one caveat. When you're editing your survey, it is a what you see is what you get. And my caveat is, if your default text happens to be white on a dark background, it will look like you have no text in your survey. Let me show you what I mean. So you'll see here I have images, but it doesn't look like I have any text. I do have text. It just happens to be that this particular CSS style sheet has white text as my default. So when I preview this, I will see the text. You'll see here it's fully branded, has a full brand experience, and you'll see that the text is white on that darker background. So be sure, another best practice that I didn't cover before, be sure that doing your customization comes last before you send out your survey for this reason. Easier to be able to edit when you can see the text than not. All right, so that's our different levels of customization. Now let's look at some of our other send options and we'll be done. All right, so we have here the email, and we talked through the email invitation information. And we also have website embed. So if I click see options, I'll see all of my options for website embed. You'll see we have the website feedback tab, which if you're working within QuestionPro, you'll see that feedback tab on the side. That is the same feedback tab that you'll see here. And you can make your changes. You can click on this and preview what your feedback is going to look like. And then you just take this embed code, you copy it and paste it into your web page, your website, wherever you want it to appear, and it will show up on that page. You can also embed directly into a web page. We have pop-up surveys, exit surveys, and we even have, if you just need a link, we have exactly the code that you need to be able to paste into a web page or a website for you to have that link available. So those are our website embed options. We also have our panel, which you can purchase directly from us. So if you need a targeted group of respondents, you can click here, tell us what kind of response group you need. So let's say you're targeting physicians who directly work in the Bay Area. We can help you with that. You can also post to your social networks. So you'll remember that I was talking about connecting with your customers the way they connect with you. You can post directly to a Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn account from within QuestionPro. And we also have a QR code. So if you have a more public survey or you want to include a survey on the back of a business card or on a business card, we actually have pre-done templates that you can use. So you can either just get the QR code and save the image and use that image on any kind of printed media. We do have clients who include this on their product packaging. Or you can create a business card, a 4x6 card, a table tent, or an 8.5 or an 8x11. And any of these you export and you can then send the PDF. I believe it exports as a PDF. You can also customize any of these. So you can insert your logo, you can change the text, it will keep the QR code, and you can even do a custom URL here on the side. Let me show you where you can actually customize the URL. Here underneath the live survey link is where if you click customize, you can come up with a short URL, which if it's available, then you can use that URL for your survey. And that URL is what will populate in the Send tab for the QR code. And the QR code, if you're not familiar, it's where someone takes their mobile device. They have an app that reads QR codes. Most are free. They can snap a picture of the QR code and it will take them directly to your survey when you do it using this format. If you need offline surveys, we have our mobile app and you can purchase device keys for that. They are usable for iPad as well as Android devices. And then if you need API, we have API available as well. It's more technical, so I won't get into how API works. So that's just an overview of our survey options, survey send options, as well as we reviewed how to personalize using custom variables, and we covered how to customize, very quickly looking at theme, title, and logo, as well as doing a full CSS. So that is the end of our demonstration for today. If you have questions, please feel free to use the Q&A. And if you are interested in joining us next week, we're going to talk through the reporting options that are available in QuestionPro. And we're really going to focus on the real-time summary next week. We'll give you an overview of what that has, dive a little deeper into a couple of the ways that you can customize your reports in QuestionPro straight from that real-time summary. We also have a special webinar Thursday, May 28th at 11 a.m. Pacific, and that will be the Beginner's Guide to Conjoint Analysis. So this is a new feature that's going to be coming up in QuestionPro, and we want to help you understand how to use it. So feel free to sign up for that. I will be sending in the sign-up link when I send the follow-up for this particular training session. So that's our special free training that we like to do once a month. This month will be all about the advanced conjoint analysis, what it is, how to use it, and when to use it. So if there are no questions, I'll wait just here another few seconds for people to send questions. But if there are no more questions, thank you very much for joining today. I hope you will join me next week as we talk through some of the reporting features available in QuestionPro. Have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday.